Welcome to Modern Retrogramming with Plasma. This is episode 7, Conditional Statements. In this episode, we will cover the conditional statements in Plasma that allow for branching to code based on whether a condition is true or false. The basic condition statement is if. Here, we build a simple framework to evaluate keyboard input to set a variable based on a pressed key, then print them out. When the if expression evaluates to a non-zero value, the following statements will be executed. The conditional if block is terminated by fin, F-I-N, kind of a take on the reversed if, and the French word for end. Statements that operate on a logic value 0 represents false, and anything non-zero represents true. Here we'll compile it quickly, get our program to run, and test it out with typing in a couple characters from the keyboard. Here's an A or Z. Here's an A. And we see the value of variable V being printed out. Let's go add to the conditional statement the optional else clause that will execute when the if clause is false. Again, we'll compile this quickly and run the same character inputs through it and see that we'll get the same output. Very good. Now, there's a shortcut for the special cases of if-else that can be used called the ternary operator. This looks like a double question mark after a conditional Boolean test, and then followed by two other statements separated by a double colon. And this kind of reads as if C equals A, then evaluate 1, else evaluate 2. So we'll set the value V based on the conditional of C equals character A. We can compare this again to the if-else version that is a little more explicit, more flexible, but the ternary operator can actually be placed in line to other statements. Makes it a little more efficient as well to compile. So we'll ensure that it is indeed giving us the same kind of results try with the Z character again. Then we get the same results, but also look now at the size of the binaries. Episode 7b is 221 bytes. Episode 7c is 213 bytes. So slightly more efficient in this case to compile it as a ternary operator. Let's go look at the else if clause, which is an additional way to kind of string together else and if statements, just a little bit cleaner than a separate else and if. But this gives us another clause to add to the string of tests to make. In this case, we'll have 3 inputs we'll test because we have 3 possible test cases. We are now also checking for a Z character specifically, and in that case we set V to 4. So you see that's how that now evaluates. In the case that you have a string of tests, you can actually use what's called the when is otherwise when statements. That is a little more clean in terms of syntax. And you can here you'll see that we have a when C and then is in these different cases of values. There's also a new statement called break in there. And this allows for this whole block to be basically broken out of or fall into the following clause. And that can be a little more sophisticated concept, but it allows for ways of clauses to continue into other ones. But in this case, we'll see that we get the same kind of behavior as the if, else cases. And then we see we get the same results as we did in the previous example. But also notice that our binary for episode 7e is slightly smaller than the episode 7d example. So that gives you a quick introduction to the conditional statements of plasma. Thanks for watching.